is a program made for the Commodore 64 that fits into only 256 bytes. This program was submitted by Linus Akkeson in the Old School 4K Intro competition at Revision 2017 in,
Saarbrücken,
Germany, and of course he won first place in the competition. I mean, well deserved. And just to put into perspective, the words that I have said so far in this video far bypasses 256 bytes with a UTF-8 text formatting system. Yet, this program still fits a whole ass song and visuals to go along with it. So, how? Imagine this, you get sent all the way back to 1982. Wait, no, scratch that. Anyway, graphics and audio. Pretty cool, huh? Well, these are the chips that are used in the Commodore 64 to process graphics and audio. I'm gonna be calling this one Vicky and this one Sid for the convenience of it, and I'll get more in depth in a later section. To understand how Linus Akkeson pulled this off, we have to look under the hood of the Commodore 64. In modern programming, you have massive libraries and compiled languages and a whole bunch of shit to help you. But when you only have 256 bytes, you can't waste a single byte on code that would be useless. Instead, you have to manipulate the hardware directly, specifically accessing the Vicky for graphics and the SID for sound directly. Also using the Commodore 64 assembly language, forgot to mention that. Let's first take a look at the Vicky chip. On your standard Commodore 64, the Vicky chip is responsible for rendering everything you see on your monitor. But it doesn't just pull from images or some file on your computer like a JPEG. I mean, this was back in 1982. JPEG wasn't even invented until 1992. Normally, if a programmer was to display text or moving graphics, they would have to store a bunch of data in the computer's RAM. We're talking massive character sets, sprite data, and color maps. The CPU has to constantly tell the Vicky chip exactly where to look inside of the RAM to find the data, how to move them, and what colors to paint them. Usually in a standard situation, a full screen image would take up about 8,000 to 9,000 bytes. That's around 30 times the amount a Mine is Born is stored into. Then you have the SID chip. The SID is widely considered a great audio chip put into early home computers because it isn't just a simple beeper, it's a 3-channel music synthesizer, and it's put straight onto the motherboard. It has built-in waveforms such as triangle, sawtooth, other stuff, audio filters, volume envelopes. But to make music, a standard Commodore 64 programmer would have to write a piece of software like a digital sheet music player containing massive tables of data that tell the SID chip exactly which note to play, on which channel, at what millisecond, and with what instrument effect. So if you didn't have to worry about the size of your program and wanted a moving, synchronized visual display accommodated by a complex electronic soundtrack, you would easily need tens of thousands of bytes just to hold the instructions and raw data. So again, how did Linus even achieve this? He did this by breaking the traditional conventions of Commodore 64 programming. Instead, he used his own tricks to make everything as small as humanly possible. First off, Linus completely bypassed having to use a bunch of bytes to tell the Vicky what to look at. He did this by telling the Vicky chip to read the exact same section of memory where the running program code and audio data were stored. Because the code is constantly changing values to make the music play, the graphics chips interpret those changing numbers as moving visual patterns in pixels. The flashing colors and pulsating patterns aren't hand-drawn, or better say not purposely drawn with code. They're just the graphics chips reading the audio data and processing it as it was visual data in real time, which means you get visual for 0 bytes. Now, for Linus making the music, he couldn't afford to write tables of notes for the soundtrack. Instead, he wrote a math formula called a linear feedback shift register. Sounds overwhelming, but I promise it's not as scary as it sounds. Well, I mean, the actual formula is scary, but basically, the equation spits out a stream of numbers that feel random but repeat in a predictable cycle, which then feeds the outputs of this equation straight to the SID audio chip. Because the math naturally morphs over time, the chip generates its own techno-heavy beat completely on its own. Usually, in programming, you would have to write the visual and audio instructions separate, but in Commodore 64 assembly, Linus layered them by using his audio bytes to display visuals. He constructed the Commodore 64's assembly language so that a single byte served two purposes. For example, a byte containing data meant to tell the SID chip what note to play would simultaneously be read by the CPU as a programming instruction to trigger a visual change through the Wiki. The data and the code were literally the exact same bytes. There is 0 wasted space because almost every single byte is pulling double duty, controlling both the audio and the visuals at once. Wow, that was a very cool program with some crazy tricks and a very cool video. It's almost like I should subscribe to the channel or something. That would be very cool and nice. Happy face.